Oh shoot, I forgot to check my website for a thing. Okay, I'll get to it when we get to it. Hello, it's Elena, and I'm enchanted for you to be here on my channel and on my live and during my book coven gathering thing. I am late due to, let me just try to like up that up a little bit. Okay, I am late due to me and the circumstances that be. So sorry. At least I'm here. The whole great thing about this is that it's being recorded and you can rewatch it whenever it works. Yes, so I am excited to continue on with our book. Hello, hello. We are going over Elemental Witchcraft by Hare and Michelle, and I do have the links for this book in the description below now, and it's both for like US, I think it's US/Canada, and for EU, so Germany and EU thing, because it's a little different. As well as also the Kindle links for that kind of thing. Hi, Inaricia. I am going to accept your volunteering. Okay, I think that's how to do it. This is the first time I'm setting up a mod because last time it was a little bit chaotic. I don't know if people rewatched the last live. It was maybe like a total of 15 minutes and it was a little bit crazy. And I am doing okay. I am excited because my spring collection is coming out tonight. And I made some super pretty things because I did not limit myself to like trying to fit a specific, I don't know. I just did whatever I wanted to do. So that's going to be up later tonight and you should check it out. And maybe even I will put a code down in the description below for like a little bit of a discount. So if you're coming from my book Coven, you get a little bit of a discount thing. And the first 11 people overall who order a physical product get a little free gift in their package. So a little bit of a disclaimer thing. I was going to, my big work table is over there and I was going to grab like a couple things to like do a little bit of teaser for you here because, you know. But it's over there. So anyways, just take my word for it. I'm very excited. All right, so today we are going over pages 177 through, what did I say last time? What was it going to be? I don't have my sticky note. (177) through 187. Let's just do, that's 10 pages. Oh, but that's like a good, I'm not usually this unprepared. Okay, let's go from 177 because that's where we left off. And we're gonna go to 190. Yeah. Okay. All right, and if you do not have pages, like if you're doing a Kindle or if you're getting it from online or anything like that, we're starting off today from this chart here and going until ritual, the end of ritual 2. Is that the end of the ritual 2? Yes, the end of ritual 2. Oh, whoa. Do you guys know those like giant stink bugs that are like usually this big? There's one that just passed out of nowhere. and it scared the crap out of me. Anyways, all right, so those are the pages. I'm glad you're excited as well. Yeah, now I get to open up more to like the this continent type of people, and unfortunately it's not going to really work out with the US type of people with the shipping and making it a little bit difficult. We'll figure it out. Now, in regards to the poses, these are very ceremonial magic poses, specifically towards invoking a type of energy. And this is very strongly Wiccan based, which is okay, it's fine. But it's also something that can help you put you in the mood or in the right mindset. And in all honesty, I don't really use full-on ritualistic like motions type of stuff. First of all, I have EDS, so if I stand up and like go down and stand up and go down quickly, which some of these motions require for you to do, that's it. I'm gonna pass out. It's not gonna be fun for anybody. So I like to adapt things and try them out and just see what kind of feels right for me. And she did explain what each motion means. So first one is branches heaven receptive, holding both of your arms up. It's also sometimes called the chalice pose, where you hold your hands up more of like a chalice, and it's often done during like full moon or new moon rituals to like invoke the energy and like become a chalice for like the energy to come into you. That one I do. Then she talks about roots, underworld, also receptive. That's more like kneeling down and being connected with the earth. You don't necessarily need to lean down to do that sort of connection type of thingy. But you can just do it through like your feet as like a grounding type of meditation. And again, I don't really like to doing the whole roots one specifically in this pose because it feels like I'm like bowing down to like the gods and the energies and the deities and that kind of thing, and I don't do that. I don't work directly with deities. I don't really have a specific Patreon that I'm following or anything like that, and to me I don't bow. Like, I respect them, I admire them, I like am grateful if any of them decide to join or be present within me or any energies like that, but I do not bow. And then she talks about like the Osiris kneeling and putting your hands across your chest. The same thing, Osiris standing, putting your hands across your chest to welcome in the energy. The kneeling, putting the same thing, welcoming the energy. Do both of your hands, crossing it. And then the opening channel, as above, so below. And I want to talk about a little bit in regards to the Osiris kneeling, standing with the cross type of thing. That pose is not something I do often because I don't like the cross of it. To me, doing a cross kind of feels like a barrier, a stop, not exactly like fully welcoming. So instead, I do more of a like putting the hands to my chest because this feels like more of a welcoming of an intake type of pose instead of crossing my arms and having it be like this to me means like stop, no, go away, that type of thing. So it that's my own personal experience, but definitely like try out things that work for you because it is individual based, and however it works. If I actually mentioned something a little bit further down. Then in regards to open channel, as above so below, which is the pose of raising one hand up and one hand down to kind of like become a flowing vessel type of thing. I do like that pose. I don't necessarily use like the specific finger points that is on it. I use more of like an open palm type of thing. And I do use that pose for like connection. Now, all of these poses are more so for very ritualistic magic. You don't have to do something like this all the time if you're doing spell work, grounding, meditation, or any sort of that kind of stuff. This is if for like a deeply connectional. I mean, you're absolutely welcome to do it all the time. It's fine. Very often I do meditate before with like holding my arms up or doing a variation of the pose. So it just really depends on kind of how I'm in the mood, how I feel with the energies, and that kind of stuff. Mm, okay. Yeah, and I did mention this earlier in the video in regards to me not being able to do some of these poses as well. I have EDS and POTS, so if I'm like up and down and up and down and that type of thing, I'm gonna pass out in a circle. And that's it. That's the ritual. I get to take a nap. So yeah, absolutely. Do the poses that feel right for you. So you don't have to do it the way that is described in this book. It is a very specific religion following type of book. It is not the thing for absolutely everybody. But if it works for you, it works for you. Great. If you haven't done anything like this before and you want to give it a try, that is a great starting point. But feel yourself, feel your energies, feel how you are responding, how the energies you're trying to work with are also responding. As also I mentioned before, the welcoming pose or the Osiris pose is like a crossing thing, and for me that just feels like a stop. So it has not worked for me in my practice. I hope that makes sense. Because the spirituality is individual for you. And who cares about what anybody else says? It might be one way for me and totally different for somebody else. And you know, maybe somebody down the line, like I've never met before, they do the exact same thing I do out of wherever. I don't know. It just works out however it works out for you. So, yes, she also mentions like the chakras that get to be aligned with it. So, like holding your energies in is like for the heart chakra. And I have a ton of notes on over here. And I do like how she talks about opening a channel of creation. And I really like this exercise that she provides. And does she have a name for it? Or is it like the opening channel? That's all she talks about. And you could do this with me right now. So it is in regards to your hands and starting to feel the energies. I feel like this is a great practice to anybody that's starting out or to anybody that's kind of like losing touch. And then to anybody who's like not full on believing in this energy stuff. And we could do this like right now together and I could show you what exactly it is. And I like doing this with like people who are starting out. So it's all about your hands. We are going over energy. We are trying to feel our energy, sense our energies, that type of thing. And energy is energy. So spiritual energy is same as, I'm sorry, let me phrase it. Spiritual energy is an energy. Heat is an energy. Electricity is an energy. All of that can be intertwined and turned into something else. They're all their own specific things, but they're all still interconnected. Okay, so like it's not the best kind of like connection type of thing, but a little bit of something for you to realize that just because you can't see it doesn't really mean you can't feel it or experience or use it, that kind of thing. All right, so you're going to take your hands together and you're going to press them close. You're going to take a deep breath and make sure you sense all of your hands and fingers together as best as you can. You don't need to like full on put on a lot of force, but just enough pressure that you're able to like touch the tips of your fingers together, and you can either splay them or put them together. It doesn't matter, whatever is comfortable for you. You don't need to have your elbows out. However is comfortable for you, just have your hands close, palm to palm, aligned as best as you can with a little bit of pressure. Then I want you to take a deep breath, let it out onto your hands. Then I want you to take another deep breath, but this one very slowly, and kind of feel like it's going from the tips of your toes, up your legs, up your spine, up to your neck, throat, head. You might feel a little bit tingly at this point. And take a deep breath, finish it as big as you can, and then let it out as slowly as you can towards your hands. So something like this. You can't see me visualizing my toes, and I'm not putting my toes on the internet. So then you're going to move your palm together. Slowly at first, building up a little bit of friction. And now imagining all of that energy that you initially pulled from your toes for your breath and like up your body and through your body and out. Imagine all of that moving up towards you. Feel it tingling towards you, up your leg, up your thigh, up your hip, your spine, your side, your stomach, up to your shoulders, down to your elbows, wrists, and hands. Just keep rubbing it together, keep your fingertips together, that sort of thing, for like a couple minutes. Create a little bit of friction. Don't do it so it's like hurting or uncomfortable. Just start feeling that like warmth and tingling from you pulling in the energy. So from every breath you take, you feel it pulling up. Now we're going to take a pause and lower your hands a little bit. Take another deep breath, and you're going to slowly separate your hands, very slowly, and be very mindful of what you're feeling. You should feel, you could feel warmth and tingling, and it might also feel like you have a rubber band kind of like pulling your hands together. And then separate it a little bit more and closer, and separate it as far as you can until you no longer feel that pressure of the rubber band. So kind of pulling it out, noticing it, and for me it's like right around here right now. Then like my palms automatically get cooler. So as soon as you get to that point, bring it back closer together and notice how it starts to get warmer and like almost a little bit bouncy. And just find that like sweet spot between right where it creates like the most resistance. So you're compiling all of that energy into a thing, like you're doing like an energy ball type of exercise. So yours could be right around here, yours could be right around here, could be further out completely, like completely outstretched hands, however you feel it, but just notice it. So for me, right as it becomes like denser and bouncier and warmer towards the center, it's like right around here. And it feels like I'm squishing almost like a balloon, but it's like a little bit softer than a balloon, but enough resistance to kind of like feel a bounce back, that kind of thing. And if you like press your hands back together really, really close, you'll start to feel a little bit of like resistance. Once you're done playing around with that, because it's pretty cool, we're going to put your hands back together, rub them again slowly, feel that energy start to slowly dissipate down your arms, down your back, down to your toes, into the ground, just relax and let it go. And then you might still feel like a little bit of tingling close by because you just like charge yourself up, but you won't really have that like rubber band effect type of thing. Okay, so if you did give this a try, let me know how you felt. I know maybe I was going a little bit too fast or talking a little bit too quickly or anything like that. But if you gave it a try, let me know. Either now or like later or however it goes. Okay, so I really, really like that exercise and I think it's pretty cool. And I've also done that exercise with like somebody else as a partner. For example, if I'm meditating with somebody and trying to teach them and show them and that kind of thing, and then I would do it before you like let go of the charge and ground yourself. Do it together with like them and just feel how bouncy it becomes like against each other's hands, and it's pretty darn cool. So it's a great way to like actively sense your energies and like really feel how it's responding like right away. Yeah, so there's that. Okay, proceeding forward. That was my little guided meditation with you. Make sure you give it a like or something for it. Okay, then she talks about doing a ritual, and this is like the first ritual within the book. And this is in regards to building your personal altar with consecration. I'm still not like 100% recovered from my intense flu. So, which is why, like, yeah. Okay, so your cat interrupted you. That's a little bit funny. That it wanted to participate, maybe. Maybe it wanted to help you out. But yeah, give it another try on your own. I think the instructions are fairly easy to remember because you're just kind of like breathing, doing breath work, and using your hands. So you could take a moment to like do it off the camera and just on your own, and maybe even put your cat on your lap. Maybe she wants to help out. Sometimes my cat joins my circle when I do it. And just like give it a try on your own individually at your own pace and see how it goes. And then send me a message. Let me know what you felt. All right, so this is in regards to building your personal altar. And she says like prepare your altar at your style and comfort level. If you have like the tools, you can get them ready. If you don't, that's okay. Then she talks about that this altar consecration does not go so far as to open the elemental gateways or to invite the guardian elements, the guardian element beings. Wow. But it does prepare the consecration items with which we will anchor their presence in future rituals. So yes and no. I feel like that kind of depends on it. Oh, you also have a cat. Nice. What is your cat's name? Narisha, what's your cat's name and universe within? Like, I don't really know your names. Using the handles is kind of funny. I know Narisha, and I know her actual name, but she uses a username, so that's that. And obviously you have a different name, unless your name is Universe, and that would be pretty cool. Whatever. But let me know what your cat's names are. I have a cat. Her name is Lila. And she is she's about 12 years old. Oh my gosh. She's an old kitty, but has an energy of a very young kitty. And she was an indoor-outdoor cat in the US. So she was like very lean and muscly and that kind of thing. And now moving to Germany, she can't really go outside because we live in a little bit more congested area. Plus, I live on the 4th floor and no like easy escape. And she gets so chunky and she gets so fluffy and I love it. Okay. Distraction. Cats are great. Ruby. Oh, that's nice. So maybe she was helping out with your energy or sent something different because cats are very sensitive to that. Dogs are as well, but not as like intuitively as cats are. I have a dog, I have a cat, and I have a parrot. The parrot does not give a shit. The dog, borderline, if it's something like really, really strong that I'm doing, then she starts to kind of like react to it. If it's just regular-ish magic, kind of, sort of, she kind of chills, doesn't really care. My cat, on the other hand, does respond to things more attunely. Yeah. Okay, again, back to this. I love these chats because I can kind of like talk about everything, book included, mainly book. She also mentions the needs for the altar consecration, and I feel like it's kind of funny because she really makes it detailed and like misinterpretation proof kind of thing. For example, you need a white candle in a fire safe holder, then matches or a lighter, and then an incense you like in a safe incense holder, and that kind of thing. So it's just like, I don't know, I found that amusing because to me it makes sense. If you light a candle, you kind of need to put it somewhere that it's not gonna tip over or spill wax on your table, unless you're okay with it spilling wax on your table, because that's also like an aesthetic and a choice. But you do gotta make sure that it's not gonna catch something on fire nearby. And if you are using it and it's like an incense holder or candle holder, definitely make sure it is made out of some sort of non-burnable material, even if you're not going to burn the candle down all the way, like porcelain or a metal of some sort or a stone crystal of some sort or a tempered glass. Avoid any like plastic things or that kind of stuff. All right. Then she talks about preparation for it. So she mentions, like, consider performing this ritual consecration with your feet bare and your hair unbound, wearing loose, comfortable, fitting clothing that helps you feel magical or nude if you prefer. I don't like the whole nude thing. It gets cold. And I'm just like not a fan of that kind of spiritual practice thingy, but I do wear something comfy, cozy that I can move around in, like leggings and an oversized t-shirt, that sort of thing. Depends on what exactly you're doing. If it's like a full-on ceremony thing that you're gonna work with deities, invite them, and create like a very sacred ritual space, I would recommend you kind of dressing presentable. Like, you don't have to be like formal or anything like that. Just wear something nice-ish. Like, you could wear jeans, but just like, don't wear pajamas. I think that's the thing. Like, don't wear pajamas. Try to avoid like clothes that are kind of like too dirty or ratted or whatever. So just like at least come presentable, like you're meeting a friend, like you're meeting a good friend out at a coffee shop. Think of it like that. Yeah. Okay. Now, in regards to the consecration items, she talks about a white and red candle. So white to represent a present spirit of divinity, and then a red candle to represent element fire in a fire safe holder. If you're using the candle to represent spirit, you can also use it to represent fire. You don't need to have both, but You could if you want to. And you also can just use the sigils for all of these like elemental things. You could like write them down or use them or have them as like printout cards. I remember in my shop before I used to have like laminated alchemical symbols for each element. Why was that difficult? And like kind of corresponding to it. And I might bring that back. I think I have a couple in a stash in a box somewhere. I'm not entirely sure. So you can use those, and I really like disc because they're paper. They're very easy to transport or to keep kind of stored and in place and that kind of thing. And I also laminated them, so if you get like candle wax on it or something like that, it'll come off, and they're like waterproof and whatever. So they're very like transportable, and you can very easily make your own as well. So pretty much you take a cardstock, as thick of a cardstock as you're able to cut. Okay, maybe that's a little bit too much because I can cut like a pretty thick piece of cardboard, with depends on the kind of scissors. So, or whatever works for you. Like you can use wood tiles or whatever and engrave it at any individual piece. You're going to need four to represent the four elements. I like to use for like the items a very nice cardstock, as well as the colorings or maybe symbols for it, that kind of thing, to go alongside with the element. So I have, for example, like the earth element, the tile is going to be earth based, so it's like green, and it I think the one set that I have, I did clovers. Is that what I did? Yes, I did like a ground picture of clovers and with like the pink flowers in it and a little bit of like pink and white flowers. So I really like the image because it was my own photography, and most of them I did my own photography stuff with it. Um, yeah, so that will be like a grounding one about earth. And again, because I did my own photography, and you're welcome to do it absolutely as well, I feel more grounded with it, more connected with it, and that kind of thing. And I did something similar with all of the elements. And then I have the alchemical symbol of it embossed or used some sort of thing just to kind of get it really stand out, and maybe make it a little bit shiny or something like nice, and then like kind of decorate the edges so that all of them are a little bit cohesive and pretty and aesthetic and nice, and trinkets, that kind of thing. And I keep it in my traveling altar, and I also made like smaller ones just for myself so that I can even take it in like a much smaller traveling altar type of thing. You can make it yourself. You can make it out of wood. You can make it out of paper. You don't have to laminate it. If you don't have a laminator and you made it out of paper and you want to make it a bit more preserved type of thing, you can use, I think it's Mod Podge. You can use Mod Podge to kind of paint it over. I'm not a huge fan of that, but that is very recommended because it like stiffens it as well. Or you can very easily take like large clear packing tape and like tape that over. That kind of gets like the sides a little sticky and it bothers me, but before I got a laminator, that's kind of what I did for my own like little things. Or you can like there's plenty of options. You can figure it out, work it outside the box. So that is for the elemental stuff. You don't necessarily need to have all of these like big things unless you want to, unless it feels right, that kind of thing. Okay, so any incense you like in a safe incense holder. I like how she didn't full on like restrict you to which incense, but I would recommend using an incense, if you are using an incense, something that will go alongside with consecration, something that will go alongside cleaning or cleansing or that type of thing. because some incense have more correspondences towards I'm trying to find the words. Words are eluding me. Different herbs, different incense, different oils have different meanings or correspondences based on like the practice that you're going alongside with. So my practice is more Western witchcraft, and a little bit of like Norse and Celtic and that kind of thing, which is overall fairly similar, and which is kind of like very modern witch common correspondence thingies. So those have meanings and correlations and connections. And for example, if you are trying to consecrate something, bless something, or like cleanse something, you don't want to use something that will not work for consecration, and it's more in tune with, let's just say, love or um, psychic opening type of stuff, or I'm at a loss for words. Lots of things. And for example, if it's an herb or an incense that is very connected towards shadow work, you don't really want to use that as a thing you're going to consecrate with. Because if you're putting yourself into a very open position towards energies, and especially if you're just starting out or whatever, you don't really want to use something that has a connection towards even like deepening your psychic self and like more of an opening before you really like cleansed or consecrated the items that you used, especially if the items were, they always misbehave. I think I had one good day with my bangs on a live. Yeah. Does that make sense? Did I explain it all? Or did I kind of like go off of it? Okay, so shadow work, if you're opening yourself too much towards an item that has not been fully cleansed, kind of, sort of, or energetically, especially if you got it, like, for example, from a thrift store or from a friend or that kind of thing. It's not really your energy. You don't really know full on what is kind of like attached to it. And if you just like open yourself up too much unknowingly, it could just cause some issues. Yeah. Okay. Then she talks about a small bowl of water. Filtered or distilled is preferable. I don't know. Water is water. I would actually say any sort of moving water is preferable, because moving means cleansing and washing things away. So moving water, best option is from a stream nearby your home, or a river, or the ocean, something that like flows, or rain or whatever. So any flowing water I would suggest is easy. And guess what? When you turn your sink on and the water flows, that's also flowing water. I would recommend that. And then a small bowl of sea salt. Just salt. Use any salt. It does not need to be fancy sea salt. It does not need to be pink Himalayan salt, or I actually came across, I think it's Norwegian smoked sea salt, which is absolutely delicious. But it does not need to be fancy of any kind, of anything. Plain table salt is fine. Salt is a great cleansing tool, and it can be used fairly easily, and it's fairly inexpensive, that kind of thing. The only thing is be careful what you use it on, because certain crystals do not interact well with salt or water, it can damage them pretty badly. And then, for example, certain tools also should not really be interacted with salt or water. For example, anything that is metal, especially if it's not like, you know, stainless steel or modern type of metal, especially if it's a vintage cast iron type of metal. It's just not the best to kind of like have a be full often exposed to that. All right, I have a couple comments. I've been kind of like on a thing, and I'm gonna go through it. So comfy but decent dress, t-shirt, pants, skirt combo. Perfect. Then I like to wear tank tops or dresses, like those maxi short dresses. Yeah, that's great. Um, I use sage or dragon's blood incense for cleansing. I love working with those too. Yes. Um, in regards to using sage, I'm not against it. I'm not going to go like crazy over it, but sage is a very, very powerful cleansing thing. So it just like resets the whole entire energy space completely. So you need to be careful how intensely you use it, how often you use it, and if, for example, you set it up to like cleanse a space and you want to do like a deep, deep cleansing of a space, it's great. It's fantastic. Things that go bump in the night are not happy with it at all. Same thing with certain people. Um, so that just really full on does like a hard reset of the energies, the spiritual thing, or whatever. It's like a blank slate. And when you do that, following up with it, you need to invite the energies that you want to be present in your space. Otherwise, once you're done cleansing it and there's, you know, a vacuum of empty vacuum of energies, things are just going to kind of flow back in. So you need to invite something to create a balance. Does that make sense? So it's a good, very good cleansing tool, and it's very strong cleansing tool. But you need to reinvoke something back in to kind of like ground it and it needs a balance. Or maybe, how can I explain this? Okay. Have you ever seen like a syringe? Not like the super little ones because they're not the best of it, but like a larger syringe, maybe for like food prep or whatever, like a large syringe type of thing. And when you, like, example, draw in liquid, it like comes in, push the thing, the liquid comes out. Okay, there's like a little bit of a balance. But if you push all the liquid out and then you put your thumb or cover up the nozzle thing so that nothing can, like, the liquid cannot come in, and like nothing can come in, air can't come in or anything like that, like full on blocking it, and you pull on the thingy, whatever, you are able to pull it out. You're going to feel it on your hand, like the little suction thing. But as soon as you let go, it goes back. Does that make sense? And very similar happens if you kind of like over, because as soon as you like let go of it, things kind of come back. It needs to have something. It needs to have a balance. So re-invoke something back in. And if you haven't really been doing it and you've been fine, whatever, with your energies, that's totally fine. If it works for you, absolutely great. I would definitely recommend giving it a try, and just to see if like the balance and the things and like what you're working with changes. Okay. Okay, in regards to asthma limited to incense, that's okay. You don't need to use incense. It's not a requirement. If it bothers you, if it hurts you, especially if it bothers your health or hurts your health, no, don't use it. There's plenty of other things to use instead. So incense is usually corresponding with air. Instead of using incense with a correspondence to air, you can use a feather. You can use a sigil. You can use completely anything else. If you're using it for cleansing, again, you don't need to use incense for a cleansing specifically. There are plenty of other techniques and that sort of stuff for doing a cleansing. And I think I mentioned a couple previously during my book talk stuff. I think I have. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I definitely have, but I don't full on remember which ones I talked about. I definitely talked about using my breath because that's the one that I kind of use the most often since it's right there. Or the wind. And that also corresponds to air and you and your energies. So if you just envision a cleansing, powerful type of energy, kind of like pull it in, similar to what the exercise we did with our hands, kind of like pull it in towards your throat, your mouth, and kind of like hold it in your lungs and like this area a little bit, and just imagine it being like a cleansing thing, and then just slowly imagine whatever stuff that's not supposed to be there is going away. And that you can kind of control the intensity of to how much power or much energy that you're putting behind it, because the longer you kind of like meditate and focus on that cleansing light, you can envision it as a bright white light. That's usually a common way to kind of like explain it to help you visualize it. It doesn't need to be a white light, it can be whatever works for you. I just envision it as like me holding the energies of storm winds that are happening somewhere in the world, because there's always a storm somewhere. So that's kind of like the envisionment I have, and I'm just like breathing it in, holding it in, and just like letting it out to do a cleansing. And that's my favorite way to do it. Now, if if you are consecrating like a full circle or something like that, that is also not the best practice because you can't really be going around. You're gonna pass out or get dizzy. So that the using your breath type of thing is good for like small scale items. Okay. Yeah. Then she talks about the preparation and how to get yourself grounded. I like that. I did read it before I went back to the thing in regards to having your feet bare and your hair unbound. I do like that. I use that in my rituals and magic and workings as often as I can, comfortably. Um, it definitely helps me feel like more connected, more open, and more receptive. The only thing is, I have long hair, and now it got to the point that it's past my waist. Like, you can't even get it all on camera. So, it's pretty long. And if I'm, for example, doing a ritual on the ground or on the floor and that kind of thing, and it's my hair's down, and I kind of want to like move forward or like crawl forward or whatever because I need to reach a candle or whatever it is, that kind of thing. I I end up stepping on it with like my knee and like yoinking my head down, and that's not fun. I don't like that one. Yeah, okay. So I usually kind of like pin it up a little bit somehow, but I do try not to keep it in a braid or in like a protective hairstyle. I hope that makes sense. But it is pretty funny. If especially if I'm not doing anything like ritualistic base or whatever, and I'm just kind of like moving around, or even getting in the car because I've sat on my hair before, and my head just goes blank. It's funny for the outside person. That's not funny for me. All right. Going on to the oh, she talks about chiming the bell 3 times and allow the tone to ring naturally until diminished. I like that. I love using bells as a cleansing tool, or using any sort of like sound bowl or a drum or anything like that. It's also associated with air, so you can use it in lieu of incense, in lieu of cleansing, and you can, you're not going to get dizzy from breathing too much with it. So using a bell is great. I am very particular with my bells. It needs to have like a certain sound. If it doesn't sound the right way, I'm not using it. But that's a me thing. Any bells would work. And like before I do any intense rituals, or not exactly intense rituals, or any like formal rituals or big rituals or rituals that like require prep work and that kind of thing, I like to also cleanse my space, my room, my apartment, whatever, physically, because that also kind of like gets things out. That's one of the things for the witch's broom use or the witch's vacuum if you're modern, and just to kind of get like that stagnant energy out, and also to set up protective wards or protection type of stuff, either on yourself or your space. And I'd recommend both. On yourself more intensely, and on your space a little bit more flowable with your permission. And she kind of also talks about that doing like with the circle, and it's very similar to that, how I would recommend you to do it. But again, do what works for you. So yeah, the thing that I'm not a fan of, she talked about like right at the beginning, saying that we're not inviting the elements. And she's also saying this is why there is no need to release the elemental energies at the end. Yes, you're not full on formally inviting them, but you are using items corresponding with the elements. I would still give them the respect of acknowledgement. So, you don't need to full on invite them unless you want to. But you are still kind of informally inviting them since you're using things that correspond with it. So at the end of the ritual, even though you're not going to be like full on doing a releasing and grounding, according to her, I'm making sure that she. Yeah, so she does not really put in a finishing thing for her ritual. No like grounding. She kind of just like talks about purification thing, and then take 20 minutes or so of your daily meditation, repeating any of the affirmation or terms from previous exercise that you like. And then it stops. And I don't like that. I feel like you should always do a grounding, always do kind of like a release, a gratitude type of thing for any elements that you're working with. You're cleansing with elemental tools. Even though you're not formally inviting them, you're still inviting them. And you're still creating a space of energy, creating something in between, opening up things, cleansing, and whatever. At the end of every ritual, you, in my opinion, whatever works for you, you should always do a grounding, gratitude, and a like release of excess energy. Otherwise, you might end up being like wired for the entire day, or things might feel a little bit off, or you might feel like too tired because you're still kind of like connected to the space. So they are like truly misbehaving. So you should always do a grounding. And then, for example, what I like to do with any candle that I light, even if it's spell-based, ritual-based, just smell based. Before I blow it out, I always say thank you. So even if I'm just, lighting a candle to make the room smell pretty, I always show respect to the elements, regardless how it is, and say, thank you and that kind of thing. Yeah. Now, if you are a beginner, fresh new, never done any of this, just starting to kind of read things through, I would recommend that you do follow something formal just to kind of learn or get an idea of how things are possible to do, common to do. But definitely like read everything carefully first before you sit down and do it. So don't just like, for example, pick up this book and see it and be like, oh, okay, let's do it. Get all your supplies, sit down, and just kind of like do it then and there. Definitely read any sort of thing before you do it and see if it aligns with what exactly you want to do. And then kind of follow it and pay attention to like your energies or that kind of thing. So I highly recommend following something formal. It doesn't have to be like this one or super formal or whatever. First time. And I would also recommend, if possible, for your first time to do it with somebody that has some experience with it for the first time. And no, sorry, other way around. If you are brand new baby witch, that kind of thing, if you are doing something like this for the first time, I would highly recommend that you do it on your own, slowly, carefully, and being very present in the moment and aware of what's happening, how you're feeling. She puts down as one of her things like your book of mirrors, so like your journal of some sort, so that you can write things down. And I think that's like very important. And if you are like studying your energy, not the first time you ever do something like this or any sort of like formal ritual type of thing. So first time you should kind of like go with the flow as best as you can, and then second time you can either modify it to you or whatever, but take it even slower, step by step, and study yourself and like journal things along the way as you're doing it. And that not only like helps you see, your growth afterwards or realizations or learn about yourself, that also really helps you connect and ground in the moment and be very like aware of what's happening within you, within the outside, that kind of thing. So that is a great way to study it. And if you've been a practitioner for however long and you've never really tried doing something like that, like slowly, step by step, with full on awareness and journaling, pretend you're a science experiment. And like track things step by step. For example, you put together all of the items. Like, it's gonna take you long. It's gonna be like a day project. You need to set aside a lot of time for it if you want to do it correctly. But I would suggest like, they need a trim, maybe, or something. And I tried to use like a hair straightener today, and it's just like not working. Okay. Anyways, it's gonna take a while for you to go through this type of project, but I think it's a really great exercise to do. And I would start off as early as jotting down how you feel when you pick the items that you're going to be using, and like when you bring the items towards like the space that you're going to be doing it on, and when you first kind of like enter the space that you're doing that you're go enter the space where you're going to be doing your ritual, and just really pay attention to all those like minute details. um Maybe I could do a separate video on that. I mean, like, when we talk about these, I get even more ideas of things to share and things to talk about and things to explain, because all of them could be like an individual 20-minute long video, and I just there's not enough of me. Anyways, moving, continuing. If anybody has any questions in regards to anything that I say during any of my lives, videos, whatever, blah, 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 feel free to reach out either in the comments or directly in like a message, or if you need like a further explanation, that type of thing. Now, I cannot promise you that I'm gonna like hold your hand and go step by step through absolutely everything if you kind of ask, but I would definitely point you in the right direction, and kind of like explain the reasonings, the do's, don'ts, whys, whatever. Does that make sense? And I'll be happy to help, kind of like steer you in the right direction. Okay. We got that far. That was like a big discussion in regards to this first ritual. Now, the thing that I mentioned and kind of like panicked at the beginning is that I forgot to look it up on my website, because I used to host live rituals every new moon and full moon. I'm gonna eventually get back to it. Every new moon and full moon, and I provided like free downloads in regards to setting up your circle from like my perspective. Can I multitask on this? Like, oh, okay, so it does disconnect me. I need to look it up so that I can talk to you about it. It's going to be in like my live ritual section. And I'm afraid that if I like disconnect for too long, it's just going to end the live, and that's just gonna suck. All right, so do I have a pencil around here? After this live, I'm gonna remind myself. I'm literally gonna stick sticky note to my forehead or something. With like a big star point. Get the link for my ritual explanation and downloads. Because I know I did a lot, and I actually have quite a couple live rituals posted, mostly on my website and like descriptions and explanations of it, and then I did recordings of it, and I managed to post a couple on my YouTube. I did not post all of them, but I still have all of the files, and I will at some point eventually post them and edit them, and connect them to like the links on my website. The reason that I'm saying it like and edit them, it's because it was a live ritual and people have interacted and asked questions and that kind of thing. So it wasn't exactly it was over Zoom. Was it over Zoom? I think it was over Zoom. So that I saw people face to face and talked to them directly and that kind of thing. It was like through my website, and I really, really liked that type of connection. So the reason I need to go through and like edit it is because during the Zoom meetings, even if they're recorded, when the person talks, like their image pops up or their name pops up, or whatever. And I want those rituals to be very anonymous to who attended, because I know that can be tricky. So I'm not going to be posting anybody's personal things. And editing that is a little tedious because the rituals are about an hour-ish long. We're okay. We're okay. We're not falling. No earthquake. I just accidentally kicked it. Okay, so I'm also going to, I think I have it on the playlist, link a couple of my rituals and what they're about, either in the description or in the comment. Yeah, make sure that they're accessible on my website. Okay, I definitely recommend for you to check it out if you're curious, because we did a couple different themes, and Inaricia has attended a couple, which were great. So if you have any input or anything like that to share with it, please do so. Yeah, so that's kind of the thing. And as I keep going, as I like settle into my YouTube routine stuff, I do want to bring them back. I think it's great because I do those rituals kind of anyways, and doing it like that way make sure that I do them and don't forget them, and that just kind of like, yeah. And if anybody else like watches this video afterwards and has participated in any of my rituals that I have done, like drop a comment below how you liked it. I got, good feedback. People kept coming back, so it worked. Okay, so I will do that, and I'm going to stick this thing like right behind my phone so I don't forget, because ADHD. Okay, so I clean my space every so often when I'm working on things. I make jewelry and other items in my small shop. Nice, that's good. Doing a cleansing while you're working on your items is good. You're able to imbue more of your intention into it and that kind of thing. I do that as well with my items. I set up almost like a ritualistic space type of thing, and especially if I'm working with like specific energies. For example, I do watercolor paintings that I have sold in my shop before, and I really like to use like moon water, and I add selenite to it and just kind of like make it witchy and fancy and that kind of thing, and I really turn it into like an imbuing energetic ritual stuff. So I totally get it. Love it. Okay. And then she talks about, the rest of the instructions with the ritual. The biggest thing is like, I really, really, really don't like that she does not provide any sort of closing or grounding. I really don't like that. Okay. And then she has a journal reflection in your like book of mirrors and that kind of thing. Oh, okay, no. She does have it. So it's after the journal reflection. So she includes a journal reflection. She includes the journal reflection as part of the ritual. Okay, it was like in a different paragraph, so it seemed separated. And she says, like, thank Spirit for their continuous flow of divine love throughout your life, saying, hail and farewell, Great Spirit, as you extinguish the candle, and by saying, blessed be. It's not enough. I don't think that's enough. Yeah. Then she talks about the Witching Temple. Chapter 10. This is a long live. I think I'm just going to like, we still have like a couple pages and stuff to go through, and I kind of need to go and do stuff. All right, what is going to be a good ending point? So we're going to talk about the Witch's Temple. And I like the quote at the beginning when she says, the altar functions like the heart of a witch's temple. Yes, and one of the things that I wanted to bring up and to mention is that position it accordingly. So depends on like what you believe in, and if you believe in like specific cardinal points or work with the energetical points or whatever, placing your altar in specific directions can have like an influence towards the energy. Placing your altar in specific areas like to what you're doing in that place. Like I would not say put the altar in the bathroom because it just kind of, doesn't feel right or sacred. I also won't exactly put like a full altar in your kitchen because that's mostly like the heart of your home, and like a lot happens there. Um, and I would really recommend not putting your main altar at like the entrance of your home, that kind of thing. So, because too much transcending energy happens. And what I mean by like main altar, you're like main altar, you could set up like a little protection spot or that kind of thing as an altar at the entrance of your home, but like not your main one. There's too much stuff happening, in my opinion. So yeah, and then she kind of like talks about that a little bit, and she also mentions that when hold up. Now that you've awakened and consecrated your altar, these energies can be expanded outward to form a larger temple, large enough to share with other witches to dance around, enacting ritual theater and creating magic. So she's talking more about like specific ceremonial things, not like your individualized personal altar. Okay, you keep 2 journals next to your bed. That's awesome. Post my work on YouTube channel. Nice. Awesome. In regards to like journals, I got accepted as an affiliate partner with the brand called Magic of Eye. I love them. They are stunningly pretty, super aesthetic. If you like shiny crow brain things, they're great. And I use their planner for a few months. Like I got it on my own. They did like I paid it myself. They did not reach out to me, and it's not like anything sponsored. I got it myself because I wanted to check it out. I did share like a mini unboxing of it. I didn't do a full one. I wanted to, but like I literally got the thing the day after my surgery. No, not the day after my surgery. The day after I was first time back home from my surgery, and I was just like too excited to wait to do an unboxing. I wanted to open it and get like a good dopamine hit. I do have like little clips on it. Maybe I'll turn it into a little short. I don't know. Anyways, I am now an affiliate with them. I love them. I decided to like take a risk and send them an email and see what happens, and they accepted me. So now if you go check out their site and you use the code Enchanted10, you get 10% off your entire order. And I think that's great. So it kind of like helps you out. And right now they are having like a end of print cycle sale. So those planner journals are 60% off. They're stunning, and they're so useful because they're very astrologically aligned, which is why I really, really like them. I don't use it as my main planner. I use it as like my spiritual planner, and it has like day by day. Maybe I'll do a video on it. Just kind of put it out there more. I love that journal. And they have like other journaling things. So definitely check it out if you are looking for a journal. Not specifically the universe within. I'm not specifically talking to you about getting a new journal. To anybody else who's like watching and is interested in getting a new journal. Now, if you want something that's a little less witchy, because there's like it's a specific aesthetic. It's stunning. And it's like good quality, so it is at a higher price point. I am also affiliated with Notebook Therapy, and the code is also Enchanted10. And they are notebook and stationery things, and like stickers and pens and pretty stuff. And I use their journals very, very often. So I'm also affiliated with them, and if you use the code Enchanted10, you get like a discount. And you get a little bit of a commission. But their journals are so pretty. Also great quality, more on the affordable side, more affordable, I would say, and they have a lot more options for like different aesthetics and the different things that you like and the different things that you prefer. Yeah. So check them out. And they have nice washi tape and like stationary thing. Okay. Moving on, because I need to finish this off. Okay, so she also like points out that it's very Wiccan magic based, as I mentioned before. And again, that's okay. It's like a good base to start with, but do what feels right. You can do similar. My hair. You could do similar things without being Wiccan. It doesn't need to be anything else. And then she talks about the circle cross and how it points out like the different directions type of stuff. But she does not pinpoint cardinal directions, at least not in this diagram. So usually, let me phrase this, based on Western and spiritual practices type of stuff, the cardinal directions are earth is north. I don't know why I'm pointing up. It's on my book up. Where's north here? North. Is that north? Yeah, that is north. North is earth. South is fire. West is water. East is air. And a good way to kind of remember it is that, well, at least from the northern hemisphere, south is warmer than where I'm from, so I associate it with fire. And then west is water, both start with W. And then the opposite of fire is earth. The opposite of water is air. That kind of thing. Ooh, Oracle decks next to your bed as well. Nice. Yeah, definitely. I have like a little rolling table shelf thingy that kind of has like most of my witchy practicey like daily things, and then I have a little like vintagey super cute bag that I put all of the stuff in it, like all my journaling things that I do in the daily, and that's also next to my bed, but it's like portable for me. Okay, I'm gonna kind of like try to speed this up because it's already an hour and 20 minutes. I love hanging out with you and talking about this stuff. I like how she points out that when witches cast a circle, we carve out that sacred space, then we open the gates to the 4 elemental realms and invoke divinity from the center. This connects the upper world and underworld to join us, consecrated ground here in the middle world. So opening up a circle helps you connect with all the elements and whatever you invite inside. And then she says, like, building a witch's, that kind of like starts like a whole new thing. I think I'm gonna end it here. Like, we only went over a couple pages, but I like going over things in detail with you. That's how we, learn and that kind of thing. So and my voice is kind of giving out. Okay, yeah, that's definitely my bird is helping. Okay, I'm done. I'm getting overstimulated with everything. here. We did go over quite a lot, and I feel like it was just a lot of details to go through. And we'll just pick up next week right where we ended. So for this live, we ended at the end of page 184, which is the finishing paragraph after the figure 22 circled cross and that kind of thing. So this is where we finished on this page, and if you don't have the page, we finished right before the section for ritual techniques for building the witching temple, which is page 185. So yeah, we're going to stop here, and for next week we're going to go over page 185. There's like another ritual. What do you think? Should we do 10 pages or 15 pages for the next time? What would be easiest for you? Like, I don't really have many people right now at the live, but the ones that are here, should I do 10 or 15? Because it's really ritual heavy, I'm gonna go with 10. Yeah, so we're going to read 10 pages. We're gonna go from 185 until 195. Actually, like, yeah, until 195. We're gonna go. But that's like a whole new section with like more details and stuff, and that's gonna kind of like cut it off. All right, until page 194 at the end of the figures. So page 185 until 194. Again, if you do not have if you don't have the page numbers or anything like that, we're starting off from like the ritual techniques for building the witching temple, and we're ending at this. Oh, you're going to, don't worry about like full on catching up or being like on time or anything like that. Like, I'm going page by page just to kind of keep the lives structured so that I can, you know, continuously talk about it. Go at your pace, whatever's comfortable. Don't push yourself. Don't skim through, because some of these are like quite a lot to go through. All right, so that is that. I'm so glad for those that joined me, that hung out, that kind of like passed through. Thank you so much, Anaricia, for agreeing to be a mod. I'm not sure if the chat was like this clear because it was like a little slower today, or because, you know, you did a great job of like keeping things out of it, because the last one was a little crazy. Yeah, so that's that. You know, like, subscribe. Don't forget to give this a like. Help me appease the algorithm demigods so that my things get like out there. And I'll see you on my next video, which will be, which should have been yesterday, but like my news video should have been yesterday, but life did life things, so I'm gonna try tomorrow, because today I need to finish up the rest of like the description things and take some product photos and all of that. And I'm gonna be busy deep diving into all the pretty things. And as I'm doing so, follow me on Instagram and look at the stories, because I'm gonna share a little bit of sneak peeks of the pretty spring things that are happening for my my shop, and I'm like so excited. All right, I did say about like a discount code. I'm gonna put it also in the description. I'm gonna say it now. I think we could do like book Coven. It's gonna start with book Coven. I'm trying to decide. Book Coven 10. Yeah, we're gonna do that. 10% off your entire order. Book Coven 10. I'm gonna put it in the description. And I'm very excited about the items I'm putting up. So check it out. You don't have to buy anything, just like check it out. Again, help me appease the... I'm gonna cut off all my hair. I'm gonna be bald in my next video. Help me appease the internet algorithm demigods. Anyways, I shall see you on the next video. Love you all. Bye.